So this is the cutting file for the orbs. Now you see there's three sections, okay, for there's three strips. And I just wanted to show you something. Sometimes when you put down something on your mat, when you send it over to your machine, it will sometimes just cut out the outside edge first and then start doing all the interior bits and pieces. And if you haven't got a very sticky mat, sometimes that can lift off and move before it's had a chance to put all the other bits in. Now there is a way around it, and that's by using your Brother Canvas Workspace PC or Mac and going into the layers section, which is this tab here, which has got the little sheets all lined up underneath. You click on that and that brings up the layers. Now if you notice that the rectangle shape is at the bottom of each of these groups. So what the machine will do will actually do the semicircles first. Sorry, we'll do the rectangle first and then go up and do each of these shapes. Now I want the rectangle to be the last bit to cut out, so it stays sticky on the mat when it's doing all the little markings. And you can cheat, you can bypass it. So what you have to do is, get my mouse, here we go, is actually move this shape, I don't know if you can see it, and move it up. Come on, mouse. I want to do it. Why are you not doing it? Come on. I don't want you like that. You're going to move this shape up to the top of this group here. And can you see the arrow's got a little rectangle? It's showing that you've picked up that piece, and I'm now going to let it go with the left hand button of my mouse, and it's moved that rectangle up. So let's just go on to the next one and click on it, and then holding my left button on my mouse down, I'm going to drag that up to the top of the group. Okay, and let go of the button, and you see all these shapes are now underneath. Now if you do that, what's going to happen is it will cut the semicircles first, or put the dashed lines in first, I should say. Ooh, move that far enough. Why not being temperamental today? Ah, there we go. So it will do all these dashed lines first, then the last thing it will cut out will be the rectangle. So that's a little trick, just in case your mat is not as sticky as you'd like it to be. And sometimes when you do a project and it tends to cut out the outside edge first and then do all the other bits on the interior of the project, and it sort of messes things up a little bit. So anyway, that's how. So now let me show you what I've cut out. So I've got my three pieces now, and you notice that you've got some tabs at one end and a slit at the other end of the rectangle, and I'm just going to open up that slit and make it a little bit wider, because you've got to get two thicknesses of card through that slit. Okay, so right side, open it up a bit. As I say, you've got your tabs at this end. Now what you need to do is basically you're going to manipulate the score lines a little bit, okay, just to get it going, not heavily scoring with your bone folder. But on the back side you'll see you've got your score lines here, and basically I'm just going to slightly just press those into position, but not heavily bend it, if you get my meaning. You're just manipulating those fibres to get that score line going. So we'll finish off shaping it when it's put together, but I don't know if you can see that. Okay, I'll turn this light around. You've got those little, what I call the bendy bits, okay, all right, and just bend it the other way also, ever so gently. Don't because you just want to get it started, but you don't want to heavily crease it just yet. We'll do that when we fold the bauble or orb together. Now, making sure, okay, that's like that, good. So it starts that crease going. So you've basically manipulated the fibres of that paper, and we'll do the same with this one as well, and do the same with this one as well. It's a slightly thicker card. Okay. Now, once you've done that, manipulated those crease marks, but not actually put a crease in it, if you get my meaning. Okay. You are then going to start joining them, you got the bands together. All right. So you've got your tab end and you've got your slot end. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to fold one of the tabs back on itself. You're then going to bend the slotted end around, and basically you're going with the bigger part of the tab, slide that into the slot, so it's like a collar. That's the only best way to, so it looks like a collar. So you can then slide and turn, whoops, didn't get that under, slide and turn the double thickness of that tab into the slot, and then on the other side you fold that tab back out again. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. You then fold that tab back on itself and it should lock in place. All right, okay. You do that with your second strip again. We're going to fold that tab back, and then we're going to do, as I say, the collar shape again. So with the longest tab and the slit, you're going to slide both those thicknesses into that slot, like so. Okay, and then fold that tab back on itself to lock the strip into place. So you don't need any glue, which is good. Then you're going to slide that inside. Okay, all right. So you've got two inside one. You then get your third strip and you're going to slide it down into that gap. Oops, there. Come out the other end, like the cross shape as it were. Okay. Bring it round and go back the other hole of the cross shape and bring it out at the top, like so. And then you're going to join those two together. Okay, so do the same thing again. We'll bend that tag back and put the longest piece into that slot, make a collar shape, so you can then, oops, make the collar shape, so you can twist it and lock it into place, and then push that tab back. Now, for whatever reason, if the tab rips, don't worry, because you can use some sellotape on the inside, on the outside, so it won't be seen because it'll be hidden on the inside of the orb. Okay, so I'm just going to manipulate that around again properly. I didn't push my tab back. There we go. So that's, get my finger out of the way. So that's locked. Now we need these seams on the inside of the orb. Okay, so you've got to manipulate very gently that on the inside. So I'm moving that seam to go on the inside. I'm now going to move that seam into the inside of the orb so it's hidden and won't be seen. So just very, very gently pull it along. Okay, all right, so that goes on the inside. Now what happens is you should have then all the thin parts of the orb on the outside. So just check. Okay, then what you can do is then start manipulating the card. So just going to squeeze from the middle, okay, and do that one, and then I'm going to turn it over, making sure that's in the middle, and squeeze that one into place. Okay, and then going to come to this one and do exactly the same, just manipulate it into place like so, and on the other side just manipulate it into place like so, and the last two I'm just going to squeeze those together and manipulate those into place. Now as you do that, the tension of the paper locks the bauble into place, so there's, as you say, there's no glue. Now the last one, if you wanted to, I thought I did some ribbon. Yes, I did some ribbon here. It's a little bit thick. It's a little bit thick. Never mind. You can, if you wanted to, is thread some ribbon through the last gap before you actually close it up, like so. Okay. Or if you wanted to, you could actually punch a hole if you wanted to, or actually glue the ribbon on top. But I'm just threading it through for the time being. And then what I'm going to do is leave it a long length, and then I'm just going to manipulate that into place. Okay, so like so. So there we can then tie it off into a nice bow. No glue involved. Okay, so there's your orb. I know the ribbon's a little bit thick, so I haven't got anything at hand, but there we go. So there's the orb, using up your scrap pieces of strips of card. Okay, so you can make a setup, and I'm upcycling an actual box that I had some chocolate Florentines in, so that I'm going to turn into a present. I'm going to glue some ribbon on and add extra little bit of probably holly cut on the machine just to tartan the ribbon up a little bit more. But I think that makes a nice little gift, and it's all using up your crafty stash. So as I say, once you've got the file done, you can then make bigger ones or smaller ones using the proportion of the height and the width to enlarge it or reduce the file. The only thing I would say, I wouldn't take it down width-wise. I wouldn't take it beyond down as small, I'd say probably 1.25 inches. The reason being is it's then very fiddly to try and get it, to manipulate it and get all the stuff together. But you can try. You could use your tweezers to help you do that in pulling the bands round to get the edge of the tab sides on the inside of the bauble. But I wouldn't shrink it down less than 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. Okay, all right. So yeah, so there we go. There's our little Christmas bauble. And again, you can, decorate it. If you wanted to, you could stick sentiments on these edges as it's twirling round, something like that. Make a little label shape, which you could then glue if you wanted to on these two edges. It's spinning round, or those edges. It's entirely up to you. But anyway, so there we go. So that's using up your crafty stash of all those bits and pieces that you have left when you take your mat off and off your card, the card off your mat, and you're thinking, yeah, I'll save those, but what do I do with them in the end? Because you start accumulating quite a lot, like I have been doing. So I hope that's beneficial to you, and I'm sure the recipient of these will think they're quite charming. So anyway, that's that, and look forward to the next video.